Now that we've explored a little more about coding, what it is, and how we can use it in the classroom, we are going to look at how coding can be assessed and how we can use coding as an assessment tool. So what is it that we assess when we're looking at coding in particular? So when looking at coding, we can assess a variety of different curricular areas, math being the first one and the most popular one, because many coding processes, whether it's an activity or a game, they all require problem solving. They allow the students or the users to solve a problem using different codes. They often require students to use patterning, measurement as well. Science and art are also areas of the curriculum that can be assessed. So design and creation, so what the students did, what tools they used can also be looked at. Learning skills may be assessed and observed during the use of coding because many coding processes involve collaboration and cooperation as well as organization and initiative. Teachers may also look at programming ability when assessing coding. So is the correct language being used? What types of tasks can be accomplished using the code that the student created? Computational thinking can also be looked at, and computational thinking is when a student is analyzing a problem at different levels of abstraction. They break it down into steps which can be defined in an explicit mechanical way. Now we're going to look at how we can assess coding skills. So coding is assessed through formatively as well as summative assessments. So with formative assessments, we look at how can, the student looks at how can I improve. With summative assessments, they're looking at how did I improve from the previous assessments and how did I perform the final task. With this, it's important to note that that coding requires or often allows for task-based learning, which is providing an authentic situations and tasks to practice coding. So an example of this would be if a teacher is giving the students the final task of using code to create a game. It also encourages problem-based learning within the classroom environment, as teachers can often provide a problem that must be solved using knowledge and skills of the coding process. So they may ask the students how they can move a robot from point A to point B in the least amount of time or in the least amount of moves. So this is giving them a problem to solve. We now are going to look at how coding can be used as an assessment tool. Used as an assessment tool as it provides authentic situations for learning and assessment. So as I mentioned earlier, students can create a game or complete a task or activity using the coding practiced in class. Coding also differentiates learning and the learning process, as well as the assessment process, as there are many different levels or different tasks that can be given with the coding process. So there are simple or more difficult levels or simple or more difficult tasks, as well as different types of code and language that can be used. So Java, HTML, or non-textual codes. So the simple code or the beginning coders may use a non-textual block code to begin, whereas other students in the class may be using a different type of code if they're at a more advanced level. So now I want you to think and reflect. So think about how you may use coding in your classroom or your workplace. And I'm going to have you return to this more to learn more about the challenges in assessing code and using code for assessment.